Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Brad vs. Todd. I'm Brad. That's Todd. I did, in fact, lie last week when I said that Todd got fired. He didn't get fired.
So Brad's a wolf.
I am a wolf. He's referencing the game Werewolf.
Yes.
And if it's just us two, guess who wins?
I don't know. Oh, you.
Anyway, yeah. We're going to be playing Standard today. Todd is going to be playing a deck that he ended up playing last week against BBD. He likes it a lot. It's a take on the Saito blue-white-red deck from a couple weeks back. He posted a bunch of decks on Twitter.
Yeah, he was going ham on Twitter, just like every half an hour, just another new Standard deck with all the new cards because he owns a store, so he has 8 of everything or whatever.
I was just impressed with his collection. It's just constantly just had a new deck, all the new cards.
Yeah, it was cool.
The gamer inside of me was a little jealous.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be playing a Selesnya deck built by James Grindle from the Open in Cincinnati. He took 16th place.
Yep.
And
he was the only person at the tournament in the top 16 playing Mana Confluence.
That is not true.
Oh.
There's 2 in the black-white deck in top 8.
I'm sorry. Excuse me. I lied.
I know that because that might, in fact, be my next Versus video.
Don't give away spoilers.
But that's right. He is the only one in the top 8 playing, or top 16 playing for Mana Confluence. And one of the main reasons why I think Selesnya has a chance in the format again.
Yeah.
But let's take a look at the deck and talk about it. For starters, this shell is very comparable to almost every Selesnya deck that we have seen over the course of the last 6 months.
Yeah, I mean, we're still doing the Advent of the Worm thing, the Boon Satyr thing. We got all these 2-drops here, Fleece Man and Voice Resurgence. We even have most of the same 1-drops, and I think Dryad Militant's the only one that's not there, but I think that's clearly because it's just the weakest one of all of them.
It is the weakest one.
And this version looks like it's trying to slow down a little bit, but still likes playing the 1-drops because you have to be able to apply pressure to the control decks.
Yeah, and I wonder why it's slowing down a little.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Could be this new guy coming around, wrecking up the joint.
Yeah, Ajani Mentor of Heroes works perfectly in this deck as not only a way to get a bunch of power onto the board when you're just being aggressive, or to dig up creatures when your opponent's trying to control you.
Yeah,
so it's just a very good positioning.
Yeah, I mean, decks like this don't usually have a really great card drawing engine or any sort of thing that really keeps the gas on the pedal. And against an opponent trying to cast Supreme Verdict every other turn, a mono black deck trying to kill every creature you play, having a card like Ajani just come down and draw a card immediately, and even if they kill it, he still replaces himself, is pretty insane. But also, his +1/+1 counter ability is absurd when you have so many creatures to have flash, because you get to let them do their thing. You end of turn cast Boon Satyr or Advent of the Worm, untap, cast Ajani, put 3 counters on it, and just smash them for 7 or 8 damages. Gigantic.
Or just being able to put multiple counters on Experiment 1 and chump block with it if that's a needed thing.
Yeah, that's cool too. I didn't even think about that, but yeah.
And you can always have regeneration on it. But the deck's also running 4 Banishing Light, and this is a couple. Right when Banishing Light got spoiled, I was talking about how Banishing Light is going to be best in a tempo-based deck because it's not a strict answer to anything. It's not just kill your guy and I'm never going to have to deal with it again, because the effect of when this dies, they get the permanent back.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's also going to be more common to have people playing, for example, I'm playing main deck Deicide, so I think it's more common that people will have answers to Banishing Light in their main deck just because of how powerful things like Corso Crew Fix, Detention Sphere, Banishing Light, all of the weapons that the gods use, and there's just so many different enchantments in the format right now that it's not unheard of. I would imagine that some white weenie decks even would main deck Keening Apparition, for example, so
I mean, it's possible. I think most of that stuff comes from the sideboard. There's a lot of decks that are splashing ways to kill it, like Black Devotion. But for the most part, I'm not worried about it. And even if they do get their thing back, they have to exhaust time to do that. And that's a perfect place to be for a green-white Selesnya-based deck. But yeah, anyone that's ever played green-white, Andrew Shout, I'm speaking for Andrew Shout. He's one of the Selesnya masters. That getting 12 dual lands is exactly what this deck needed. This is the missing link, because before the deck just ran this. It was just more force and more planes.
Yeah, and that led to a lot of really awkward draws when you had a forest with a soldier in your opener, or just force, Experiment 1, Fleece Main Lion, and you just don't have a 2-drop to cast. But yeah, I mean, I've played Selesnya to the point, in some spots where I had, a Temple Garden and 3 planes and, can't cast Advent of the Worm. So it's just super awkward to have draws like that, and having a 3rd dual land on color that is actually, comes in untapped, isn't, a terrible land, is pretty strong for the deck.
Yep. But anyway, that's the main deck for the Selesnya deck, and we'll be going to the sideboard, and then we'll get to battles. So here's the 15 cards that James Grindle ended up playing in the open a couple weeks back, and I wanted to keep them the same because I do like the logic. Against the aggressive decks, Tristani does help with Mana Confluence. Not only do we have a better chance of casting Tristani than before,
Yeah.
but we could use the life gain from it.
Yeah, plus, there are a lot of green-white decks that back in the day that played Tristani that didn't actually have many token-generating things. Like, they maybe just had Voice Resurgence or Thragtusk, like things that had to die before you actually got the token to start populating, and they're just using Tristani as, like, a life gain engine. But now, this deck specifically has Call of Conclave, Advent of the Worm, Voice Resurgence triggers, and Selesnya Charm. So it has a lot of ways to actually populate and make his life gain ability more relevant.
Yep. Above Tristani is a very unique one, Oppressive Raise. And now Todd did make a very good point that there are not a lot of activated abilities in this format that make this card worth targeting things. But for the fact of I do really like this card solely on the fact that when you play against like green-red monsters or other decks that try to like get ahead of you on board as fast as possible, this can just come down and hit a Llanowar. And like that'll just stop them from having the acceleration. That can sometimes just win a game. It can hit Sylvan Caryatid.
Yeah,
but
I mean, honestly, I think this is a much better card for something like mono red aggro or like mono white aggro even. Just like, or maybe not even mono white because of Brave the Elements. But I think Oppressive Raise, it doesn't seem like a card where the activated ability part matters too much, because I don't really want it in a matchup where they have like 8 mana accelerators and like a couple of big guys and they just want to get their big guy into play and then do something cool with it, you know? Like, this card feels way more just like if a deck is already strangling themselves on mana, like this comes down on a guy and is basically a 1 mana pacifism. So my argument was that I think pacifism might just be better, but at the same time this card does like only cost 1 mana, which is pretty huge for a tempo-based aggro deck. So
especially with how the tricks that a Selesnya deck has, if you're like forcing them to have to pay 3 mana every turn to use their creature, you can just run circles around someone. Yeah. 3 Unflinching Courage because they are theoretically good against aggressive decks. And now, the more I play with this card, the more I dislike it in the current standard format because of every deck having either their own Vanishing Lights or ways to destroy enchantments, ways like Chain to the Rocks.
Yeah, I'm basically
glares,
only bringing in Unflinching Courage against red decks.
Like straight red.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't want that card against any deck that can 2-for-1 me, you know? A buddy of mine actually was playing Witchstalker as his 3-drop over like Boon Satyr, I think, and he had 4 Unflinching Courage in the sideboard, so he had like a hexproof guy to put it on, so he could bring it in more matchups. But at the same time, like if you just don't draw Witchstalker, this card can get like you can just get blown out so hard by like an opposing player playing Selesnya Charm, Chain of the Rocks, other removal spells. So
one of the worst matchups for a Selesnya-based deck is Mono Blue Devotion. So we just need to have Mistcutters. It's not that great in the deck. You don't have any acceleration, but you're just going to need this card really bad. We don't even have like Banishing Priest like a lot of other Selesnya decks used to play. So that matchup's rough. We're going to have to lean on Mistcutter Hydra a lot. And then, last but not least, are the 4 cards that I'm going to hope to destroy Todd with today. And that is Rootborn Defense and Ajani's Presence. Now, both these cards play similar roles. Just Ajani's Presence will be able to let us use it in combat, giving us some +1/+1. So against other matchups, you can bring this in as a big blowout spell. But
plus you get a gold star if you cast Ajani's Presence when you have an Ajani in play.
Do I get a gold star?
Because flavor.
I want to go with the flavor of when you cast Ajani's Presence on Ajani.
He's not a creature.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure there has to be a card that can turn him into one.
Pass.
There has to be a card
I'm
that
off
does
it.
that. Okay.
Pass.
Well, Rootborn Defense is the last card that I want to talk about, and that's just when you cast Supreme Verdict, I'm going to cast this card. And
yeah, you're going to make another 5/5 Worm counter my Supreme Verdict, and I'm going to die.
Yep. That's exactly what's going to happen.
Yep.
But thanks for watching this, you guys. Just look down, and we'll be battling blue-white-red control versus Selesnya aggro.
All right, we got to do the fight poses.
No, that's the wrong show.
Yeah.